What's going on, people, and welcome back to my channel. I go by the name of Mr. Midas. Now, you could have been anywhere in the world right now, but you're with me, and I appreciate that. Now, it's time for another Too Many Games where I get to sit down and talk to some incredible individuals in the gaming industry about what they're playing now they have some extra time on their hands due to COVID lockdowns, because gamers always complaining too much games and not enough time. Now, on today's show, I have a YouTuber, a journalist. You can see his work on the IGNs, the PC Gamers. He is a nunchuck specialist. Yes, he's had more than 6 years in the game. He likes to talk to himself on his one-man podcast, the one and only Jakejames in the building. Welcome to Too Many Games. How are you doing today?
I'm good, man. Thank you for having me on here. Again, when you make it sound like that, talk to myself, it sounds so much worse. It's like, dang, man, like nobody else to talk to. But yeah, I appreciate it. Again, I'm a fan of the show, fan of the channel. And again, this is fun. I'm glad me and you get to talk some more, which is dope.
Yeah, we had a really good conversation on your channel about Final Fantasy VII Remake, which is a game everyone knows I love. So make sure you check that out. That's going to be linked below. But let's get straight into it. 2020 has been a difficult year, to say the least. Life has been crazy. But one thing about gamers, we're always moaning so much games. Look, even now, the end of the year, we got Spider-Man, Miles Morales, we got Assassin's Creed, we've got Immortals, Phoenix
Cyberpunk
Rising,
came out today.
And Cyberpunk comes out. Yeah, it's crazy. So many games and not enough time. But one thing I really like about you is you're not always about just playing what everyone else is playing on your channel. Like, you like to play what you like to play. Yeah. So now you've got a little bit more time on your hands. What are you playing?
This is crazy too, because this couldn't have come at a perfect time, because I literally just got a bunch of really big games within the last week or so, maybe a little bit longer, because me, I play a lot of retro stuff, every once in a while, besides the modern games. So I'm always playing a bunch of smaller games, to complete them and such. Recently, I just did a whole thing with Kirby's Dream Land 3 that I just reviewed on the channel. I've done stuff for Mortal Kombat 11. I literally just got that within the last, I want to say a couple of days, where it was sent to me by NetherRealm, so I was able to do content on the new characters and all the other extra content that came with Mortal Kombat Ultimate, which is dope. And then today, literally within the last 2 days, I finally got Miles Morales, because here's the crazy thing. A fan of mine who watches my channel, really humbled me by just surprising me by just giving me Spider-Man Miles Morales for PS4 and PS5. They also gave me the new Sackboy game that just came out for PS4 and PS5. So I still have to play that. And this weekend, I'm going to be playing Miles Morales. That's going to be my jam for the weekend.
That is amazing. Well, shout out to your fan, because he's got good taste.
Better. It gets even better, because another person that also watches my stuff, they gave me Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time, and they gave me the new Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War to do content on for the channel. They were such big fans that they wanted to see me talk about these games. So they asked, hey, are you going to get these games? I'm like, eventually, yeah, I'll get to them. But they go, here you go. And I was like, wow, this is out of nowhere. This is awesome. And it's one of those cool things is you do a lot of work and you put a lot of effort and time into it. And that shows you just how much people really care about it when they discover you. And they're like, wow, you do some great stuff. So I want to make sure you continue to do great stuff. And it was super humbling.
That's amazing. So I see you rocking your Spider-Man tee right now.
Oh yeah. So what?
So you're excited for Miles Morales. Miles Morales is incredible. The representation in the game is dope, and they really tap into that character really well, culturally, his family and stuff like that, which is amazing. Him being Black Latino.
Yeah, that speaks to me too, because he grew up in that area. Because again, I'm originally from New York. I lived in New York for a long time, and I've been to some of the areas of which Spider-Man or Miles Morales usually visits in that game. Again, I haven't played it yet, but from what I've seen in a lot of the gameplay and impressions, there's a lot of stuff in there that speaks to me as a Latino, as a Puerto Rican, as a Boricua, specifically is what it's known in New York. So that's a thing that's going to hit me on a different level, like it has with other people who are Latinx, Latino. So I'm looking forward to it. That looks really, really dope.
Yeah, super dope. So did you play the original PlayStation
Yes.
4 Spider-Man?
And the best part about the original Spider-Man for me, because I played it later than everybody else, and I had the opportunity to play it within a vacuum, so I didn't have anything else I wanted to like distract me. I didn't even play it for reviews or for work stuff. I literally just sat down and played, and I loved it so much I platinumed it. Because normally I don't platinum games. I don't really care about getting trophies too much like that, especially for games I'm maybe not going to spend a lot of time with. But that one, I just played straight for like a week and a half, and I did everything, and I had so much fun.
Yeah, there's just some amazing quality about swinging around New York that just feels so fun. And I feel what's really cool, what you'll realize in Miles Morales, I'm not going to give you no spoilers, is it's got Miles' swagger to it, and he's just a bit different. Him being like Black Latino, he's just got a different swagger to him and that Peter Parker's not got, and you're gonna feel that when you're swinging around. So you got some good games to get into. Like your peoples are looking after you proper,
big time.
All right, so another complaint as gamers is we've got all these backlogs and we're gonna go back. Now I know you've just given me a bunch of games that's on your list to play, but I want to know on the backlog, because we're in a new gen now. So are you what generation are you still on PS4 or are you on PS5 or Xbox?
I'm still on PS4 generation right now. Again, I've always been with PS4. I had an Xbox One, but eventually that broke down. So now I'm just solely just PS4 and Nintendo Switch. But eventually, I think that, again, I'm like most people, I'm going to wait before I get a PlayStation 5. That's at least the direction I'm looking at now.
Yeah. Okay. So on the PS4, we had some of the most, I'm a big PlayStation guy, as you know. Like on the PS4, we had some of the most incredible games ever. But it doesn't even have to be a PlayStation 4, because what I love about your channel, fam, you was playing Super Street Fighter 2 the other day. Like, do you know how much I love that game? That game bang. So give me a game from your backlog that you want to try and get and play. Now you got a little extra time on your hands. After you finish Miles, after you finish Sackboy, after you finish Crash, after you finish COD Black Ops 4, after you finish all of them games, what's something from your backlog that you really want to sink your teeth into?
Oh man, there's a lot, because again, as you've seen on my channel, I try to complete a game or finish a game every week for review stuff. And one of the games I've been dying for the last couple of months to sit down and play for a review video is Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII. And the reason being is because obviously Final Fantasy VII Remake, you and me both love that game. A lot of other people do. I love the compilation of Final Fantasy VII, even though I haven't really dived into most of the games in there, like Dirge Cerberus. Crisis Core I played plenty of times, and then some of the other stuff I want to just kind of revisit, you know, and like really just take that in now that FF7 Remake is out, and seeing like maybe I could think about what's going to be in the next iteration or next chapter of that game. So Crisis Core is special to me because I played it so many times. Again, I have a PSP and I have the physical version. I've just like dived into that game so many times. And with that one, that tells the story of Zack. For anybody that doesn't know, that hasn't played Crisis Core, it's Zack prior to him meeting Cloud and prior to him dealing with all the other stuff that happens in FF7. And I want to see like what things that really stick out to me playing that game again with a fresh pair of eyes. What else can really kind of, I could see make its way into the new stuff that's happening for FF7.
Crisis Core is so damn good, and it's such an underrated title. So like you said, it is basically a prequel to Final Fantasy VII. Now, Final Fantasy VII, when it came out, it did so successful. Square was basically trying to make all different games, and a lot of the games that they made around Final Fantasy VII was trash. But Crisis Core was amazing, and it really kind of characterized Zack in a way. Like, Cloud is still my favorite in the series, but I really feel like I have a connection with Zack. And even like watching Advert Children and seeing like Zack coming out, like I feel like I have that connection with him from that game, from Crisis Core. And what was dope about Crisis Core was the combat as well, because that was one of the first time I've seen Square in the Final Fantasy, the New Boot series, because remember, I started Final Fantasy in 7, so I didn't play the thing, and that was the first time I've ever seen him do real time, and it worked really, really well. And just getting down to the backstory of the Buster Sword. Like, the Buster Sword is one of like the most epic weapons in gaming, and actually seeing how far it goes back, and it was really like a really good game. So that's a good choice.
Definitely.
I like your taste, my friend.
I play a lot, man. I play a ridiculous amount. I probably play more and finish more games than the average person. And I like going, especially for Final Fantasy in general. I'm a huge FF fan. Like, I love 7, 8. Again, I have to dive into 9 at some point. I love 10. I love a lot of the older FF games, especially 4. I'm a huge supporter of Final Fantasy 4, the complete edition, the after years, and all that stuff. And I just love being able to just sit down and just go through those games, experience those stories, because there's so much in that just one package. And every single one of these games, even the spin-off titles for Final Fantasy, it gives a lot of bang for your buck, because it's insane how much stuff you get out of it.
100%. You're talking to the guy. You know how much I love the FF series. All right, cool. So much games out there, not enough time. Now, you know me, I'm a gamer. I work in gaming. Gaming is my blood. I love this ish. But what game do you recommend that I should play when I've got a little bit more time on my hands? What game do you think that I should try and experience?
Because you're a big RPG guy, so a lot of the games I would think of are RPGs, but I know some of them, if not most of them, you probably already played. But even for the people now listening to this, I would probably say, again, if you're an RPG person, if you haven't played Persona 5 Royal yet, you need to play that. That is the one game, probably the only game in my entire 10 plus year career that I've ever given a full 100 out of 100 in a review, because I feel like there's so much stuff you're getting out of the game, so much time, so much gameplay, so much story elements, characters you're gonna love. That's really, really cool. I mean, for the non-RPG guy, I would also say, if you're not playing either Tekken 7 or Mortal Kombat 11 right now, you really need to do so, because Mortal Kombat 11, to me, at the current moment, since that's the most recent fighting game I got lately, is one of the few franchises, especially another one was the few studios that likes getting a lot of good guest characters that make a real big impact, and then they do such a faithful job to the essence of those characters. I mean, look, we got the Terminator, we got Rambo in there, we got Spawn. I mean, and that's just MK11. That's not even counting all the previous games like Injustice or Mortal Kombat X that they had these legendary IPs come together in these crazy fan speculation dream matches. And I love stuff like that.
So funny, you're literally talking about some of the last videos I dropped on my channel. So let's break this down. Persona 5 Royal is the best turn-based RPG. It's really one good. Nothing can talk to it from a modern turn-based RPG. The game is slick, it's beautiful, the characters, the extra story mode. Mate, I platinumed it. And it was
that's a lot of game. That's 150 plus hours.
Yeah, it was a lot of game. I love that game, that story. It's mad because the first time I ever got into the whole Shin Megami Tensei series was Persona 4 Golden. So I had that on my VR.
Another great one.
Yeah, and I think Persona 4 Golden has got... I prefer the characters in Persona 4 Golden. I think it's got the most quaint characters ever. But Persona 5 Royal... Persona 5 was sick anyway, but Royal was just the icing on the cake.
It was everything. It was everything just built upon better. All the quality of life stuff was great. Yeah. Dude, the I love the presentation and the music of the Persona series. Persona 3, 4, and 5 specifically, because I started with Persona 3 Portable on PSP. And from there, again, it just went above and beyond for me. I love Persona 4 Golden. I love Persona 4 Arena, because that's technically a sequel to Persona 4 Golden. But every single one of those games have top-notch presentation, have awesome visuals, have amazing music, amazing sound. I got all that on my iPod. All those games are so good.
Are you excited for the announcement of Persona 5 Strikers?
The Scramble game, which that apparently is coming to multiple platforms, and they announced it for February. That's coming on.
So in Europe it's called Strikers. I'm forgetting. You're based in the States, isn't it? So you still got I think the name's trash, but I'm really looking forward to it, because after I played Age of Calamity, I haven't finished it yet, but that's my favorite Warriors game now, because they made it so well in Hyrule. It feels like you're in Hyrule. And from everything I've seen with Persona 5 Strikers or Scramble, wherever you are, I love that you feel like you're in Persona, and I love that it's got all of the story moments and the things that make Persona great. All right, so Mortal Kombat 11. So I recently did a basically not even a review, but why is Mortal Kombat 11 story so well? And NetherRealms are so good at doing fighting game stories. Do you remember when a fighting game story was literally you play the arcade mode and at the end there'd be a little story. Yeah, it would be a little story telling you what's happened. But they've actually made this formula that everyone uses now because it's in Street Fighter, it's in Tekken.
They copied them straight up.
Yeah, everyone's stolen that format, but they've just got something special. And it's funny because when I realized how special it wasn't even in Mortal Kombat, it was in Injustice, like you mentioned before. So I'm a big comic book guy, and Kal-El, Superman's like one of my favorite characters. So when I saw the Injustice and Kal-El killed Joker, I was like, what is going on? So I read
and then they had the comic tie-in too.
Exactly,
they had the whole comic run that just added to that, which is great.
Exactly. So
the crazy thing is too that DNA for those story modes and just the overall story for a fighting game in the fighting game genre, you could trace all that way back into the original Mortal Kombat because Midway, or at least Ed Boon and that team, all those guys really started doing stuff like that because they were really inspired by classic Shaw Brothers kung fu films. Like they watched Enter the Dragon, they watched A Diagram Pole Fighter, they watched Showdown in Little Tokyo, and all these different types of films, or Big Trouble in Little China, because that's where the inspiration for Raiden comes from.
Yeah,
there's a lot of different stuff we could see in that DNA that really evolved over time. And I feel like NetherRealm is not only good at making stories, even though they're not the best, most in-depth stories compared to like some of the more narrative-driven games we got now. They're stories that you can follow.
It can't be like, that's what I said as well. It's not meant to be The Last of Us. Not everything's meant to be The Last of Us. It's that action-packed Jackie Chan kick you in your face movie, but it's very like for a fighting game, like it blows my mind. Yeah, blows my mind.
Definitely.
James, I could talk to you all day. Like it's dope talking to you. But where can the people find you, and what is the latest piece of content that you want everyone to go and digest?
Sure. So I'm everywhere. Literally, I'm a whole bunch of different places. But my main one is youtube.com/gamerswithgains channel, or just search Jakejames Lugo in the search bar on YouTube. I upload every single week new reviews, let's plays, unboxings, podcasts, event coverage when there's events to be had, like a whole bunch of different stuff there. I'm also on Patreon, patreon.com/JakeJamesLugo, and Twitter, twitter.com/JakeJamesLugo. I'm always on there. You see me all the time. I'm always interacting with you on Twitter, posting up random stuff. And some of the new content that I did literally yesterday, I announced not only I became an affiliate of one more, my channel was actually able to do an unboxing video and start giving like little deals and like little shopping, like holiday stuff for everybody using promo codes.
Congratulations.
Thank you, which is cool. And then also my latest review, which is Kirby's Dream Land 3, which went up that same day yesterday, because I have to do a double upload. But next week, after hopefully, or at least at the time we're recording this, my next review is going to be Soul Calibur 3. So it's going to be pretty awesome. I love the Soul Calibur series. I've done a couple reviews on the Soul Calibur series already. So
I love it too. Our taste is so the same. You are good people. I love this guy. I could speak to him all day long. But we're a short podcast, so I can't. But he is amazing. So make sure you check out all of his stuff. It will all going to be linked below. Now, thank you so much, Jakejames Lugo, for joining me. He is, watch his videos. He's doing them nunchucker things. You get me?
I have that also on Twitter. People can watch it on Twitter. And I got a nunchuck video on my YouTube channel. There's an old one.
You get me? He could be a turtle and them man there. So check him out. Now, I've been Mr. Midas. You've been amazing. Thank you so much for joining us. And we out. Peace. Laters.